Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun. We've made it, guys. The Boys Season 4 is almost back. This is our full preview for everything you need to know, some theories, all sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about what happened at the end of season 3 in case you need like a little catch up. Everything we know about season 4, little bits from the trailer. They've released a little clip already of Homelander and Billy talking about Ryan. He's there as well. Ryan's going to have a pretty big role this season. We have all kinds of stuff to talk about. Also, there's going to be a bit of a crossover from Gen V with this season. It's not going to be so much that if you haven't watched Gen V, you're going to be lost. They're making sure that if you just want to watch the boys, it's okay. This is not Station 19 and Grey's Anatomy where you have to watch both.
All right, so before we get too far into this, just a little bit of a setup here. So, Season 4 is premiering with the first 3 episodes on June 13th. That is technically what they have announced. Now, if you are a longtime viewer of Prime Video, sometimes they're just like, let's just press this big red release the episodes now button the night before. So, you might want to be sitting by with like your drink of choice on the evening of the 12th just in case.
Yeah, if you're a long time viewer of Prime, then you know that whenever they feel like dropping it, that they do. So, yeah, keep your eyes out the night before. We will have our reviews up after episodes air every single week, just so you guys are not worried. This show is already renewed for another season.
Yeah.
And while Eric Kripke has said in the past that there might only be 5 seasons, he's kind of like, let's play fast and loose with the rules. It may go on longer. There's nothing saying that season 5 is going to be the final season, and
No.
I feel like it probably won't.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, and I know they're not going to necessarily do this, I would be, if I was Kripke, why ever end it? I'm having so
Oh,
much fun. Let's keep it
no,
going.
no, no, no,
You know,
no. It
every
doesn't need to go on for 26
every
seasons.
I know every show must end, but it's just this show's just so much fun. It's so weird. It's so memorable. Not always for great reasons, but it's very, very memorable. But okay, before we go any further here, be sure to press that like button. That helps us a lot in the algorithm here. And also hit that subscribe button because as Jess pointed out earlier, we're gonna be here all season long. We don't
Mhm.
want you guys to miss any of our reviews, reactions, theories, all this sort of good stuff.
Also, if you want more boys content, you can join our Patreon. We'll have a link for you below. We'll have videos and discussion going on over there. And it's a great way to help support the channel. And thank you to everyone who has joined our Patreon. We really appreciate it.
Okay, so let's just start off here by reflecting a little bit on where things were at the end of season 3.
All right, we're going into the past. Beep, bop, 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 boop.
Yeah,
Let's go.
okay, because
Season 3 ending.
it's been a while since this finale ended.
Right.
Ironically, though, because the Homelander meme of the people applauding after he lasers the guy and he's just like, all right, because I have seen that meme 2,000 times, I feel like it's still fresh. But basically, Homelander's mask is fully off at this point. He's around Ryan. He decides
Mm-hmm.
to make this whole show just, the moment anybody goes after him or his kid, he just decides he's going to go full ham on this person. He's surprisingly, everybody is more than fine that he has just committed murder. It has taught him that, all right, I really don't have to be Mr. Nice, nice fake Homelander anymore. And that's kind of a terrifying thought because we've already seen what he's like behind closed doors.
Yeah, and I think he's learned a little bit of that from Stormfront. I know she hid obviously the biggest part of her away, but there was a lot of her that she just sort of rebranded where she was fairly honest about who she is with a lot of it and would just put herself out there. I mean, she was working for Vought and tearing down Vought and what they stood for. And she was, diving into people's anger to be able to build that fan base. And that is now what is happening here with Homelander as well.
This was sort of the really interesting and funny thing about the end of season 3 was just that so much of the show is about, the quote unquote seven, even though there are barely ever seven people who are actually in it
I
at
know.
one time. But it is okay. So Homelander takes the mask off at the end
Yep.
of season 3. Queen Maeve, she's still out there, Eric Kripke, creator of the show, he said that there's a chance she might show up before the show is over, but it seems like she's gone for now. She doesn't have her powers. She sacrificed them to stop everything
Mhm.
that was going on. with Soldier Boy. We've already lost, Supersonic RIP earlier on in season 3, so it's not like he's
Oh,
there.
well.
Yeah, I know everybody is really, tearing up over that. And then we also had the surprisingly emotional death of Black Noir, which happens amidst animated forest creatures who are talking to him in various forms.
I
But
know, that really got me for a character that doesn't say anything, who's so scary. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, that really got me. But yeah, Black Noir, he's dead. However, they are going to be bringing back the same actor to play the new Black Noir, but as a new character, if you follow.
yeah, I'm very curious to see what exactly they're going to do with this. Like, let's just put it like the idea of what would be the funniest thing to me, and this is what I hope that if you're the writers of the boys, you're just thinking about, is that this new Black Noir is the total opposite of the old Black Noir. He's doing cartwheels and
He'll
stuff.
talk your ear off.
Yeah, he'll like be like, "Do you want to hear my British accent?" He'll just do all these things.
Oh, I want to hear yours.
Oi, I'm Billy Butcher.
Oh
Oh
my,
no,
oh
that's not
no.
good. See, okay, please, if you already hit the like button, please do not unlike the button here. I just stay with us, guys. Okay, that's
Oh
not
God,
getting
it's
any
getting
better.
worse.
No, it's not gonna listen. I cannot do a British accent. That would be good. It would just make British people angry.
Okay, let's talk about Billy because he's got, maybe 6 months to live. He took all this temp V. It's not going well for him. And because of that, he's kind of got nothing to lose. I mean, we're going to get more into the trailer now because there was a lot of that reflection going on in the trailer with Billy, where he's digging deeper into himself and sort of like, he's staring at death and the messes he's made with Becca, with Ryan, with the boys, with himself. Like everything is really starting to kind of just pile on him, where he's just like, okay, cool. I've got like 6 months, who knows, until I'm gone. What can I do to change my legacy or change what I leave behind?
I think legacy is sort of like the big word that's sort of blinking behind us here, because this is a really big theme, I think, for season 4. Because, yeah, Butcher is going to be going full on in this particular mode. And I think also Huey is going to be starting to think more and more the same way, because he
Mhm.
seems like he's had like this big identity crisis for almost the entirety of this show. He starts on it, I want revenge over what happened to Robin, understandably.
Yeah.
How do I go about getting this revenge? A lot of his season 3 arc is, I'm going to use Temp V, I'm going to get these sort of powers, I'm going to, take control. But then he sort of realizes at the end of season 3, taking control can mean a lot of different things. And sometimes the best thing I can do is help other people do what they do best. And he, enables Starlight, my favorite character on the show. We will have a lot more Annie/Starlight related discussions moving forward.
You're a starlighter.
I am ready for all the Starlight haters to be coming in. I would have come on here in a Starlight t-shirt, but the problem I realized is I don't know if Annie's even going by Starlight anymore. So I was like, is it sacrilegious then for me to be like, I'm Team Starlight if she's not even Team Starlight anymore? But we'll get more into that. But I think Huey now is realizing more and more that it's like, okay, being support for Annie is a very valuable role to play, but also violence is not necessarily the way to win in this world, because all these bad people are using violence. And do I really just want to be like them?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Huey's really been on a journey when it comes to who is he, how does he fit in. I mean, when he started working with Victoria Newman, he really felt like he was part of something, that he was doing things the right way, where he didn't have to get guts and gore all over himself, that he could actually help bring in Supes and do it the right way, until of course he finds out that she's also Soup, and he's like, cool, everything unravels for him, and he's just having this identity crisis again, where he's like, even when I think I found my footing, I didn't. I'm always just 2 steps behind, getting fooled, everybody's playing me, like I just can't find myself.
This entire trailer was very exciting to watch, but it is sort of, the more I'm getting time to reflect on it, the more it's starting to become like, you go guys, give us nothing, because it
I
just feels
know.
like they had a lot of like cool visuals,
Yeah.
violence, all that great stuff, but it's also, you guys really didn't do that much in terms of telling us what the show is about moving forward. I mean, we'll talk about the new characters in a moment, but first I have one question slash qualm slash
Hmm.
beef with the Prime Video folks about this show. Who do you guys really think The Boys is about? And I mean, maybe you guys in the comments can answer this question too, because they really want to push that this is Butcher's show. It's always Karl Urban in the key art. It
Yep.
always seems to be like, he's the face of the social media handles. And don't get me wrong, Butcher can be an entertaining character, but to me, Butcher is maybe the fourth most important character on this show.
He better be behind the deep.
Okay, you're saying the Deep is more more important than Butcher?
I love the deep.
I'm
Listen, I'm an Aqua fan in real life.
no.
So
Oh,
once
no.
they brought in the deep, I was just he's so entertaining. I remember we were at what was it, WonderCon a couple of years ago, and somebody came dressed up as the deep with Timothy stuck on his
No.
you know what.
No.
I just think
No.
he's such a weird creep that has had some strange arcs but good arcs. And I'm really hoping that now that he is back in the 7, we are going to have a really good, deeper
Oh
arc.
no. Oh, see,
We're
okay.
going to go deeper with the deep.
I think I have the Deep right now. He's a little bit behind Huey's dad, and then also no,
Oh,
I'm
we're not
kidding.
friends
No,
anymore.
the Deep is probably he's top 10, but to me, the two most important characters on this show are Huey and Starlight. Like to me, this is all about. I mean, even the pilot, it's all about these two characters, them entering this world and these crazy forces that they finally find themselves having to contend against. Homelander's number 3 because Homelander is, the iconic villain. I mean, Antony Starr, he should have like 100 Emmys for. I know there's only been
I
3
know.
seasons, but he is so amazing in this role. And so I've always just sort of been confused. That's like, okay, yeah, I know Butcher is cool and he punches things and he's a curmudgeon and he swears a lot and you guys love that, but it's just sort of like Butcher could die this season, and honestly, I think I'd be okay with it because I don't know where's the story going to go beyond okay, I have a terminal illness that I caused to myself, so how am I going to survive this?
Well, there might have to be a cure. And we do know that this season they're going to be bringing in this virus that can kill soups. That was something that was going on Gen V. And again, if you haven't seen it, I do feel that they're going to be explaining it well enough in The Boys so that you don't have to see it. I mean, they brought it up in the trailer nice and clear. Hey, guess what I found out? There's this virus that kills soups. Excellent. We can take care of everybody all at once. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot going on when it comes to sort of viruses. So is there going to be something that's going to be coming in for cures so that maybe there is something also that could come in for the temp fee?
I think one of my favorite discussions that is associated with this show is how can you actually kill Homelander? And there's just all these sort of fun ideas that are all over the place. Like, I've thought a lot about, okay, could Kate from Gen V come over and tell Homelander to, just go and jump off a building or something? And would it actually work? And this soup virus, though, actually feels like it's the number one thing that could make some sort of impact here.
Well, here's the thing. You feel that the story is about Huey and Starlight
Yes.
and their arc, and I agree somewhat, but I also think that the story is about Homelander. He is a villain, but of his circumstances. I mean, we know that he grew up with no parents. He grew up in a room where, the doctor would look through the windows. Everyone was afraid of him, without love, without care, without a support system. Even with the 7, everybody's afraid of him, and he just can't find a way to make real connections with people. But we did see briefly him really trying to actually make connections with Ryan, like when he brought Ryan to Votland and Ryan was getting really overwhelmed with everything. I mean, there was that moment where Homelander switched and was like, I got to get my son out of here. He didn't like reprimand him or, give him crap or whatever. He just grabbed him, took him out and got him out of there, and then sat with him in the cabin and really had a talk with him to just be like, listen, like, this is how I grew up. You're not going to have to grow up that way. Nobody taught me how to deal with my powers, but I'm going to teach you how to deal with those powers. And we don't see Homelander have these kinds of moments very often because he's never had these moments happen to him. No, people are either using him or they're afraid of him. So he's just kind of fallen into this role of villain. But is he villain or is he misunderstood? No, he's a villain. But at the same time, do I think that he's just like purely evil? I mean, no, not 100%. He is being pulled in a lot of different directions. I mean, even when you see him up on the plane with Maeve early on in the show, when he's like, we gotta leave, like we can't take anybody with us, because he's thinking about Vought and, you know, the money and his job and everybody in the Seven's job. And if they let anybody live, then like it's just gonna be, that's the story, how, you know, they failed this. Like he's being pulled in so many different directions that I don't think it has to end with Homelander dying. I think it could end with him having a bit of a redemption arc. I mean, everything that happened with Soldier Boy as well. I mean, there's a good guy in there. He just needs to be loved.
It's very, very deep in there, to use a deep analogy. I mean,
Let's go deeper.
Okay. I will say this about the deep. His season 3 arc was the silliest thing I've ever seen.
It was so silly.
And
he needs a proper arc. That first season arc was fire. And season 2 was okay. Season 3, I don't know. They just felt like they didn't know what to do with him. Now he's back with the Seven.
Season 2 was probably had my favorite deep moment, though, which was like the deep, like getting inebriated at the water park and just yelling at various patrons for no apparent reason.
Right.
Like, I mean, Chase Crawford can be really, really funny. No, when it comes to Homelander, supes are people too, guys. No, this is a situation where he's a very, very bad dude who has impulses that suggest that he could have been different in another life, in a different world. And, you know, and even just the way that Soldier Boy talks to him at the end of season 3, where he's just sort of like, you're a disappointment. And you could just see that that was the thing that Homelander wanted more than anything else. It's just like even the tiniest shred of approval. And the idea that he could change is kind of putting us in this interesting conflict in season 4 with, I feel Newman's probably going to be the big bad of this season. And I'm even I'll put on tinfoil hat because I have a theory as to what's going to happen this season. I think the election's obviously going to happen. They've already set all of that up. I think, you know, Newman and Singer, they're going to win. I think something's going to happen to Singer. Maybe Newman pops his brain and then Newman ends up becoming president. And then ultimately she's in this ultimate position of power. You know, we saw what happens when it came to her getting, you know, the research on the soup virus and everything else, and Gen V. And yeah, at the end of Gen V, you know, Butcher seemingly discovered the woods and all of that. But it just feels a lot like she's the one who kind of can unravel anything at just about any given moment. But at the same time, why? Like, this is the biggest frustration with the Newman character the entire time she's been on the show. I've never really understood why she's doing what she's doing. Why is she throwing Stan Edgar away? Why is she working with Homelander? It's like, what are you trying to do?
Well, hopefully we're going to get some more answers on that, but we do have some new supes that are going to be entering the arena, Sage and Firecracker. So let's talk a little bit about these two. Firecracker is the one that I'm kind of the most like, wah, 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 wah. Like she feels like just another version of, you know, Stormfront, Gunpowder. Like we've seen this character so many times now that it just feels like they're kind of running out of supes, which is very weird because there's a lot of different types of supes. I mean, this is all just creative and imagination. You could come up with anything. Sage, as the smartest person in the world, is like such an interesting idea for having a superpower. I mean, we have to just have another Stormfront, Gunpowder, Soldier Boy. It's just like, okay, enough. We get it.
I'm going to hold out some shred of hope that Firecracker could be interesting. And I will admit there's a little bit of bias that comes into this because the actress who plays her, Valerie Curry, she was in Detroit Become Human, a video game that I really, really like.
Yeah, that was a great game.
I'm putting a little bit of blinders on I do have a little bit of fear that they are sort of just redoing storylines they've already done with her. And
Yeah.
it is sort of this idea of, okay, you guys clearly wanted to have like some sort of like pundit character on the show. There's a lot of, election themed content coming here seemingly.
Yep.
Here's what I would like for Firecracker. Just what is it like if Homelander has a groupie who is just like so all about him to the point that it gets like incredibly annoying, where it's like you think you want love and adoration, Homelander, have at it. You've got this person. What are you gonna deal with this person now?
Sage is the person that I'm the most interested in. As I said, she's someone who is the smartest person in the world, and because of her background, nobody would ever listen to her. So she ended up becoming really sort of in her head about it, where it's like, I have all this information. I'm the smartest person in the world. No one will take me seriously. No one will listen to me. So if you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to listen to you. And she starts feeling really, separated from humans, where she's just like, nah, I'm not really that interested. And having somebody as smart as that beside Homelander, who's always had people around him that are, not that bright. I mean, his team is made up of the deep, and Black Noir, who never said anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the greatest group of people around him that would support him, or if people are afraid of him. But then you have Sage come in, who's the smartest person in the world, whispering in his ear. I mean, that could be really dangerous.
Sage is a fascinating character. I think we haven't had a soup that was kind of like this before.
Yeah.
And I do think Homelander, if she can present information that's useful to him, like that's the thing that Homelander cares about, I think, more than anything else in the world. How useful are you when it comes to him achieving his goals? Are you threatening his power? Are you doing anything to make him feel insecure?
Yeah.
I think he can find a lot of value with this. And to just dive briefly again into noir and this new noir, like there was this theory that was out there for a while that was kind of suggesting, okay, could Sam from Gen V end up being the new Black Noir? And it was a fascinating one for a little while, like, because their fighting styles aren't that different. Like, I don't think they're going in this direction. And to me, the biggest reason is just that, yes, we're going to see Sam and Kate from Gen V on this season. I don't know if anybody else from the show is coming over here. There hasn't been anything confirmed, but I think that they're going to kind of have these shows in conversation with each other. But as you alluded to earlier on with the Grey's Anatomy Station 19 comparison, they're not going to make it so that they're that intertwined that, like, if Sam is Black Noir, then they're not going to be able to use Sam as much down Gen V because it's going to be busy being Black Noir. So I think that's just going to be a little bit too complicated for them.
Okay, let's talk about Jensen Ackles.
Okay.
So there's nothing confirmed that he is coming back. The last we saw him, he was basically being re-cryoed again.
Yeah.
There's rumors, of course, out there that he may make some sort of appearance, maybe in like the past, or I don't know, promotional material or whatever, but nothing has really been confirmed.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up at some
Right.
point, but that's just because, Jensen and Eric Kripke have such a long history together. I think it's a fun role. I mean, Jensen's under this like overall deal at Amazon. They just announced earlier this week he's starring in a new show there. So it would not exactly be some sort of shock if he turns up. And it's the same thing with a lot of other characters from the past because of the way The Boys works. A lot of this stuff is possible in some shape or form.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing Huey's mom this season, which
Yep.
is, could be kind of interesting. We don't really know a lot about her, just that he was around 6 when she just disappeared, and that she's the reason he loves Billy Joel. I love Billy Joel as much as we do, and that's going to be coming up. So I mean, why did she leave? We don't know. Why is she coming back? That's the bigger question.
The most prominent new addition, other than everything we've spelled out so far, is Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who, of course, also has a relationship with Kripke. He's playing this character that they've tried to sort of shroud in as much secrecy as possible. Like, he's wearing a suit in some of the photos and stuff that I've seen. It sounds as though this guy is going to be somebody who is more of an enabler of the worst parts of Butcher, whereas a lot of the other people in The Boys, they try to sort of reel him in, and this guy is just going to careen him in this other direction, which, as you noted, he doesn't have that much time to live. Having this guy kind of being like, hey guy, hey buddy, you want to do this? Like, this is not going to end well.
Yeah, he's an old colleague of Butcher's who also hates soup. So I mean, you spelled it out.
Yeah.
Butcher's got not that long to live. Here's his old buddy who does bring out the worst in him, who also hates soups. It's like, hey man, you got nothing to lose. You're gonna die anyways. Let's go into a blaze of glory.
Okay, so now that we are closing in on the end of this video, I have not done my Starlighters proper justice in here so far. So it is time for all you Starlight haters, you guys can stop watching now because this is the Starlight preview. Okay, so at the end of season 3, she was just like, see ya, bot, you guys suck, had some swear words that can't be repeated here. And now she is with the boys. And, the reason I like Starlight so much as a character is just that I'm the sort of guy who, if I'm playing like Mass Effect or even like Red Dead Redemption, or I always want to be the good guy in these games. I want to be the hero, even to Jess's great frustration at times when I'm constantly doing heroic and nice things.
Especially with Mass Effect. Matt
Yeah.
was telling me that, like, was it 15% of people that have played the game have never played full Renegade?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you gotta do it. He's played this game an unhealthy amount of times where I was like, but you always play the good guy. You gotta be the Renegade. You gotta full out Renegade. And even with Renegade, he's still like, but could I choose just this one time, this better option where I'm not a jerk?
I don't want to be a jerk, and that's the thing. I like that.
Renegade.
Okay, Annie's been pushed into being a jerk sometimes, but I think she is the most like, lawful good character on this show. And after everything that she's been through, I mean, this woman deserves some element of a win, and now she can be with the boys. I think she can help to sort of further them in this direction. I kind of feel like, though, this is going to be a really difficult season for her because she has this philosophy. She'll be going in here, but she's going to be in this group with Butcher, who was the worst influence known to mankind. I kind of want her and Kamiko to do a lot of stuff together because I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, girls get it done.
Oh no,
I
no,
know.
no! That was also very entertaining. That's the thing. More than anything else, I just want season 4 to be absurd and really lean into that. Like season 3 was my least favorite of the first 3. I just felt like, the Soldier Boy arc had its moments, but it took a really long time to get going.
Yeah, it felt like they could have done a lot more with Soldier Boy, but they just didn't get there with him.
No, so I hope this season really just like fires on all cylinders right away. It seems like there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of comedy. I hope that we end up in an interesting spot. Like right now, if I had to predict one person who's going to eat it before the season is over, like I'm sticking with Butcher, and it might be an insane thing to say. It's just the guy only has so much time to live. I know he's on the PR and everything else. I just don't know what else you do with him.
Yeah, no, he's such a huge star on this show. They're not gonna get rid of him. It's not gonna happen. They'll find a cure.
How confident are you then in your guy, the Deep?
Oh God, I'm always worried about the Deep because it feels like the show doesn't know what to do with him. I think they're gonna keep him. I mean, he is like a big joke of the show, and I know Aquaman was a big joke for a while as well with Super Friends or whatever that ruined my guy. Who's not a joke. Aquaman is so bad
Oh,
ass.
okay, all right.
Listen, it's so true. But anyways, the Deep is not. So am I worried about the Deep? A little bit. I'm always worried about him, but I think they don't want to get rid of him because he is such a joke.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. That is everything we want to say leading into The Boys season 4. We have a ton of coverage coming, so
Yep.
be sure to hit that like button, help us out in the algorithm, subscribe for more updates. Also, if you want more Boys content, be sure to join our Patreon. We have a link in the description below. And thank you to our patrons for your support. It means the world, and we'll see you here next time.